even a voice, I don't think.
Ready?
Yeah.
Are we live?
We are live now. Good evening, everybody. Welcome. It is Monday night, which means we are racing once again. It is the Porsche Euro Cup, and we are now around number 3. We're at Imola. It is raining, and in the commentary box, I do have a Sarge and Craig are going to be taking up the reins this evening. Unfortunately, Stephen Koenig having some ISP issues, and we do hope that we will get him back for Thursday. But to Craig and Ryan, welcome.
Good evening, Dylan. Excited to be here. Missed a week, but very excited to be here. Looking forward to some really close racing tonight.
Yeah, look, the rain is really going to make things very, very interesting. Peter Hardeman, you have first dibs. Welcome. Brandon Dos Santos, you nearly got there. You're saying finally a wet race, and good luck, everyone. That is Yanaman, a.k.a. JJ the Greg. So, guys, I will be leaving you. Have a fantastic race, and I just hope, please guys, just let us know if you are able to hear us, that you are able to see the race, which is going to be coming up shortly, and that will be great. Then I can go and do my qualifying and leave you guys to it.
Fantastic, Dylan. Go get those laps done, and we will chat at the end.
Fantastic.
Right, Ryan, so I believe you're doing some laps there for us. How are you finding the wet circuit at the moment? No, well, Ryan's practicing hard. I see our first guys are coming out now out of the pits for the qualifying session. And everybody is out except for Dylan, who's leaving the pits now. As you heard, he was chatting to us. So good luck to all the guys. Wet qualifying, wet race tonight, and I think we're in for quite a bit of action. As we know, tonight we're starting off with Alpha tier. So it is our top 16 quickest, in theory, SARCO drivers, and let's see what they can do. I don't know of any times. We'll wait and see what the times are like, but with a very short qualifying session, I think the times are going to be quite spaced out across the field, but the racing, I can guarantee you, will be fast and furious. Some of the we follow Jake's there, who has to hopping the curbs. That probably is the quickest way around Imola. You've got to shorten the track as much as you can. Jake's definitely a pole position contender, but I'm pretty sure with the results we've been getting from Ashley that he's not going to make it very easy for Jake's tonight. So we're waiting for our first times to come up on the board. We are at the famous Imola circuit tonight, and but like we said before, in the wet, going to be very slippery, a lot of very fast corners, and an absolutely famous track, which returned to the Formula One grid this year, and we really look forward to see what these guys can do. Oh, if someone gets terribly sideways out of the chicane there. We're watching Ash now, trying to put through a solid time. Got to watch those curbs, though. As we know with Patrikios 2, you get penalised quite heavily for climbing onto the curbs. Ryan, have you joined us?
Yes, I have. Just having some internet issues where things are a bit slow at the moment.
No problem. Like I said before, you're doing some laps at the moment there. And how are you finding the wet circuit? We seem to have some connection issues there. Guys, yeah, this is round 3 of our championship for the Vintage Porsche Cup. And we've had some real thrillers in the first few races. As we watch someone go wide there off the track, that time will definitely be disallowed. And let's hope that he doesn't block Brandon, who seems to be on quite a good lap at the moment. We go down to the Horn Dog. The Horn Dog, of course, moving up from Bravo tier from the previous season, having won the Bravo tier, and now showing his hand at what he can do in the Alpha tier with, like I said, the top 16 guys. As our first times start to come through with Gav running at 201.6. And whoop, as we commentators curse, I just wanted to say that Lima was running in second, but got a little bit of a slide going there. Ash up into third, and with his run of good results, I don't think he's going to be too happy with that, but we'll see how all of that plays out. Dylan's still trying to set a time. Jake's up in there. Dylan has now set a time, but that looks like he might have either had an incident or been just, maybe the warm-up lap. But as I said, the gaps between the guys, especially on a wet qualifying, with such a short wet qualifying, with 113 seconds to go. But the racing will definitely be a hell of a lot closer. It looks like Ash is still on a run, throwing that car around beautifully. Brilliant car control. Look at that. Robert's still out there, but he seems to have slowed down and sort of stepped out of that lap. Adrian Bond still going around, also seems to be a little bit slow, maybe also given up on that lap. Dylan, I'm sure, will not be giving up. He will be flying around, trying to better his starting position for this all-important round 3. We've got the Hills, Vaughan Hills, if I remember correctly, and he's still on a flying lap. He hasn't put a time in yet, so it'll be interesting to see what he can do with the last few seconds as he comes through the final 2 turns. It'll be interesting now to see what time he posts. Dylan shoots up to 7th place, 5 seconds off the lead, as we watch Vaughan Hills come through down the straight and set his first time of the evening, which is, we wait for it in anticipation. No, he's gone into the pits. He's left the session. I don't know what quite happened there. Right, so pole position, Gav with a 2:01.6, followed by Ash with a 2-minute 3.1, Leo with a 2-minute 3.3, Jake's coming in 4th place, which was definitely one of our pole position favourites, with a 2:03.7, Horn Dog in 5th, Brandon in 6th, Dylan picking up a 7th place, Robert in 8th, Terry lying in 10th place, and JohannVdV bringing up the rear. Right, and we wait for green flag.
This is a standing start.
Right, guys, so this is the first race is a standing start, and going down into turn 1 with that wet circuit is going to be tricky. Ryan, you with us?
Yes, I'm with you. Hopefully I'll be here for a while. Let's see how long the internet holds out.
Fantastic. Like I said before, Ryan. And there we go. Green flag. Let's go. Oh, hard braking down. There's a little bit of nudging. Dylan seems very hard on the brakes there. But he has made it through. Seems that everybody has gotten through very nicely through turn 1, which is great news. Now let's settle down, guys, and let's let the racing begin. As we saw, that was some serious braking by Robert there, trying to get on the inside of, I think it was Adrian. And, well, some serious sideways action from JohannVdV, who I actually thought would have been doing slightly better in this series, our nicknamed mad scientist. Yes, and Ash has taken the lead and is already commanding the race with a 2.3 second gap down to second place, Gav, with Jakes up to third. But there seems to be a hell of a lot of people pending penalties at the moment from, I'm guessing, track limits would be the issue that we have here. But that's very, very wide there from Jakes. But keeps it under control and lines Gavin up. Let's see if he can make the move. I reckon if he can get through the last few turns nice and smoothly, get the car lined up straight, he might have a nice run down into turn one. Ryan, with the practicing you've been doing, do you find that turn one in the wet will be a possible overtaking spot?
I think so. I think if you can get your braking markers right when the conditions change a bit later on, certainly think it is possible. Yeah.
Right. It is, although it's not really much of a straight. When I say that, I mean it's you are actually turning quite a bit while going down the straight. It is quite a long, distance that you are full throttle, which should bring the slipstream into play.
I definitely think it could, yeah.
And I just want to take a minute and say that, guys, do not forget that we have a fantastic sponsor in Autowash, which is in Fourways Garden Shopping Centre, and our Duration Naidu, who is the owner, has sponsored us, and not just sponsored us, said that if you go there and quote SARCO, there's some very nice specials for the guys wanting to get their cars washed. So let's get down there and support Autowash Fourways Garden at Fourways Garden Shopping Centre, and show our appreciation for the support that he's giving us. Right, let's go and have a look down the field. JohannVdV has worked his way up nicely, starting from the back. He's now up to 7th position, 10.9 seconds behind the leader. And I don't know if Ash has had a little bit of a problem, but he's all of a sudden got second place half a second behind him, and Jake's only half a second behind that. So that pressure cooker for first place is really starting to build up a bit of steam. Ryan, where else other than turn one do you reckon would be a pretty good overtaking spot?
Sure. Yeah, there could be a bit of a tricky one, especially later on in the later stages of the race when the conditions change a bit and the track gets a bit wetter. So your obviously your braking markers and things like that change. So it could get trickier as the race goes on.
See, we've got Terry. Oh, and Terry loses the back end, slamming into the wall. That car is definitely going to have some serious damage. Again, as we switch to him, commentator's curse, I'm actually going to leave him so that he can regain some dignity there on his own. And let's go to the leaders. Maybe we can spice that up by watching it a bit, as we see that the gap seems to have got a bit squiggly coming out of that turn, and lost a bit of time to Ash. He lost about a second there, but Jake's also not capitalizing on that mistake. I think maybe the circuit is getting a little bit waterlogged and a little bit trickier to get the car around the track. Dylan pulled himself up nicely into 4th place, and he looks like he is actually catching the leaders. So he will definitely, with still 15 minutes to go in this race, be pushing to get up to those top 3. And we all know that Jake's, if he sees that Dylan is quicker, I don't reckon he'll stay in front of Dylan for too long. I think you might see a little bit of team tactics on the go there. What do you think, Ryan?
Yeah, we'll have to see what happens.
I must say, from what I've read in the Discord chat between the competitors and what we're seeing on track, this SARCO racing is starting to become quite a bit of a team championship. As we see Dylan now right on the back of Jake's, and like I said, I don't think Jake is going to make that overtake too difficult if Dylan wants to come past. Maybe he will. Who knows? But I don't see it. As we go to the Horn Dog, like I said, the Horn Dog winning Bravo tier last season and moving himself up into the Alpha tier and really making a good show of it. He's definitely competitive as he's closing up to the back of Lima, who is, well, he's been in Alpha tier before, so definitely an experienced Alpha tier racer, and the Horn Dog is keeping him honest. Let's have a drop down to Terry. I see Terry he's going round. That car a little bit worse for wear, but who knows? Sometimes maybe it helped the setup in the rain with a bit of nose damage and a bit of skew suspension. Who knows? Because I think he hit that wall pretty hard. Looks like we got a nice little battle. Oh, we've had a disconnect there by the looks of things. We're down to 10 drivers, and it looks like Gav has actually left us, which is a bit of a pity. And it looks like Jakesy boy is Dylan's fishtails through there. It looks like Jakes is not giving up that spot as easily as we thought he might. Well, at least I thought he might. But yeah. The Horn Dog now up into 5th with that disconnect from Gav. So a top 5 finish will definitely, I reckon he'll be happy with that. Let's go down. Lap time wise, Ashley has definitely got a bit on everybody else at the moment, and his nearest time, well, competitor time wise, is Dylan, who is, I'd hate to say it, looks like being held up by his teammate. And then the Horn Dog also in the 2-minute 11.8, which is pretty much on par with what Dylan's doing. If he could pull up to the back of Lima and just hustle him a bit, it looks like he's got the lap time to stay ahead. As we go to Ash, who just did a 2-minute 17, guys. That's a 7-second drop in pace from the previous lap, and I think that might have to do with a little bit of rain. Does that worry you, Ryan, that the track is getting that waterlogged over, what are we're 9 minutes into the race? Nope, Ryan's not with us. He's practicing hard, getting ready for Bravo tier. Bravo tier also going to be very tight, guys. Do not miss that race. It is going to be absolutely fantastic. As we're on board, well, not on board, but we're following the Horn Dog round, who's trying to home in on Lima. But yeah, it looks like what he's losing on the slide, he's making up on the swings and vice versa. Trying some different lines there, and that might, like I said before, be due to that track that's constantly getting wetter. It's definitely not drying up out there, guys. Let's go and have a look at Dylan, still on the back within a second of Jake's. Like I said, these two teammates, and I expected them to play along a bit, but their last lap times were virtually identical, which means that I don't see why Jake should give up that spot. That said, Jake's going very wide there, and I think he'll have a tough time keeping Dylan behind him going into the chicane. It's going to be very, very tight as they both hit the brakes. It looks like Dylan was a fraction late on the brakes, closed up a little bit, but let's see what the drive does. Dylan's staying off the painted little bits, which is probably a really good call, as we know that the paint in the grass, slippery when it's dry, even worse when it's wet, but that's Dylan past Jake's now. And it'll be very interesting to see if Jakes tries to stay with him. Jake's taking very, very unorthodox lines, But in third place, they must be working. Oh, as I switch to the horn dog, off he goes. Commentators curse again, trying to get it back around, but that sand must be, well, it's not really sand anymore, it must be mud. It's horribly slippery. Let's go down. We've got Brandon with a bit of a gap in front of him, 6 seconds in front of him and 5 seconds behind him. Little bit on his own. Whoops! I've got to stop doing that to the guys. Off Brandon goes. It looks like that track is seriously wet now, guys. I mean, we're not even going off on the turns. It looks like it's just aquaplaning on the straights. Really, really, really not pleasant. Let's pop down to Terry. Terry, with that incident earlier in the race, still going fantastically well. Deciding not to pit and fix the damage, just trying to get the car around the track. And with all the spins, I reckon if he keeps it clean, he might just pick up still a few places. And let's not forget that points are awarded all the way down, if I'm not mistaken, to 14th. And 10th place will give you points. You may be last, but in the championship, those few points might make quite a difference in the end. I just want to mention another one of SARCO's sponsors is Simstuff Racing, who have generously sponsored a button box and mag shift upgrades for the Logitech G29. And there are a few conditions that our Simstuff sponsor has put into place. That being that let's be on time, guys. Let's be present at all the races, and let's get our internet sorted out. It's a technical aspect, but racing is a technical thing, and your internet connection is just one of those things. If you don't have enough fuel in the tank, chaps, then you're not going to finish the race. And if your internet connection is not right, you are not going to finish the race. So yes, some stuff fantastic, guys. If you need a button box, I know that for Assetto Corsa it is virtually becoming vital with all the adjustments you can make. Get hold of Simstuff Racing on the Discord. Let's support the guys. And mag shift upgrades. Fantastic upgrade, I believe, to the fuel of your... and I've also been dropped, sadly, from the stream, from the director's role, so I don't know what's going on. So we are stuck with Terry, sadly, guys. Sorry about that. As we were discussing internet connections, mine let's go. And so I will have to keep you updated on what's going on with the times. We've still got Ash on lap 7 with a very decent 3.5 second lead. Jake's falling back now, 5 seconds behind Dylan. So Dylan definitely got the pace in the wet, and I reckon Dylan must be kicking himself. They didn't get past his teammate maybe a little bit quicker when they were closer to Ash, that he could have played a bit more of a role in that fight. But there is still 5.5 minutes to go. We have got Liam down in 4th place. He's 4 seconds off the back of Jake's, and possibly closing up. Jake seems to be struggling at the moment, guys. I'd be interested to see what the problem is, and it'd be nice to chat to him after the race if he does get into the top 3. Then, as I said before, we've got the Horn Dog in 5th place, our Bravo tier champion, moving up to the Alpha tier and showing what he's made of. Then we've got Adrian Bond in 6th place, a newcomer to our SARCO series, qualified well and racing fantastically in 6th place. Then Robert down in 7th place. We saw him having a bit of a spin, struggling with these wet conditions, but I reckon all these guys are struggling at the moment. That track is just getting wetter and wetter and wetter. The curbs are getting more and more slippery. Do not even think about going near the grass, because you are going to spin. And Brandon down. Well, we got Vaughan still with us in 8th place, not far off the back of Robert, so I'm sure he'll be trying to maybe grab that 7th place before the race has ended. Then we've got Brandon in 9th, also very, very, very close behind Vaughan. And so that battle for 7th place is hotting up quite nicely. Then as we follow Terry, like I said, guys, sadly I got disconnected, so I can't do any directing and move us around on what we're watching. I don't know what happened there. But let's watch Terry, guys. Terry, a V8 racer, in real life, not in sim racing, and definitely knows how to handle a machine. So him being able to get this car with that damage around the track in this rain, definitely an achievement, and definitely worth the points he's going to get. As we look, it looks like Ash actually has quite a command over the race at the moment, pulling another 2 seconds out of Dylan on that previous lap. Dylan on a 2:19 and Ash on a 2:17. If you remember earlier, the guys were running 2-minute 11s earlier on, and it looks like the track is just so waterlogged that the lap times are just not there anymore. It's literally about who can keep their speedboat on the black stuff until the end of the race. Right, Jakes must have made a mistake. I see we've got Jakes down in 4th place, a second behind Lima as Terry goes off, sticking to the grass, choosing to maybe stay off that sort of muddy sand patch at the moment, so that maybe there's a little bit less grip there and a little bit more control, just keeping the car straight until your speed is down and getting it back on the track. But I don't know if Jakes has made a mistake there. Jakes had a 2-minute 26 on the previous lap, with Lima on a 2-minute 20. So I suspect a spin maybe on Jakes' part there. As, Brandon comes down the main straight to finish the lap, and we have, it looks to me like 2 minutes left on the board, most likely 2 laps. I'm not too sure where the leaders are on the track at the moment, but wow, it's Ash is absolutely flying at the moment, opening up another 2 and a bit seconds on Dylan through that sector. And funny enough, there we see Ash coming through, turning on the lights, asking Terry, please Terry, in the race, let me past. Ash doesn't look like he's got any damage. We've got Dylan coming up in the background there, also lights ablaze already. Like I said, Terry, the old hand at racing, he definitely won't get into the guy's way. He knows they're trying to do their best lap times. You know, Dylan trying to close in on Ash. He definitely will not get in the way. And let's see, further down the pack, we have Horndog still in 5th place, Adrian Bond still in 6th, Vaughan Heels Robert in 7th. Then we've got Vaughan Heels in 8th, Brandon in 9th, and Terry, who we're watching, down in 10th place. Terry giving Dylan lots of room and definitely not doing anything to slow him down. Dylan on the ragged edge, throwing it sideways through these turns, trying to get on to the back of Ash. But Ash just seems to, in this car, guys, have something special up his sleeve. Again, I just want to say a huge thank you to Autowash, Fourways Garden Shopping Centre, for sponsoring SARCO. And remember, guys, great service. And if you mention the word SARCO when you're chatting to the guys, there's 15% off all their normal rates just by quoting SARCO. Let's get down there, guys. Let's support him. He too, if I'm not mistaken, will be racing in Bravo Tier, which is fantastic and doing very well as far as I remember. Then again, guys, remember Simstuff Racing is sponsoring a button box and mag shift upgrades for the G29. Thanks, Simstuff Racing, for your support. We really do appreciate it. Guys, it looks like the race is complete. So Ash has crossed the line. Looks like he has won. Dylan coming up in 2nd place. Lima in 3rd. Jakes in 4th. The Horndog in 5th. Adrian Bond in 6th place. Robert in 7th, Vaughan Hills in 8th, Brandon in 9th, and Terry bringing that absolutely wrecked car home in 10th place. Congratulations, Terry. That was well done. Guys, we'll get the top 3 into the lobby into the chat as soon as we can, and so that we can all have a chat and see how the guys enjoyed that and see how they handled the changing conditions. As we watch Terry on his cool-down lap, I'm sure that car's pretty much a handful in this weather, even on the cool-down lap. But I'm sure he'll be quite grateful that it is over. Dylan, you with us?
Craig, sorry about that, man. For some reason, I just keep disconnecting on the Discord.
No problem, Ryan. Did you watch the race?
Yes, I did, yeah.
Okay, fantastic. And Ash running away again, proving that he's not just a dry weather racer, he's quite hot in the wet as well.
Definitely, yeah, and he was pretty consistent with his times around the track as well.
Yeah. Look, there was a couple of ups and downs, but definitely I reckon the most consistent of the batch there, and that showed in the results.
Definitely, yeah.
Yeah, it looks like Dylan actually setting, by the looks of things, the fastest lap. It's just difficult to see with it so small. But, yeah, some seriously good pace, maybe not just as consistent as Ashley up there in the lead.
You're on the call.
Well done, though.
Doesn't always win, eh?
No, it's
Dylan, are you there? Right, we're just waiting, guys, for the top 3 guys to join us in the Discord, so that we can have a chat with them and see how the race went for each one of them.
No, Craig only went later, but near the end. So starting positions for round number 2, Adrian, you take us away, then Wondog, you second, Jake's third, Lendl, you're in 4th, Dylan's in 5th, Ashley 6th, then it is Robert, Brandon, Vaughan, Terry.
It'll be interesting now with Ash starting in 6th place. Remember, guys, that it is a rolling start, reverse grid for the top 6 finishes for race number 2. And it will be very interesting to see whether Ash, who was not the quickest lap time-wise, but definitely the most consistent, can race his way through to the top and take another victory for his championship points.
Adrian, you'll take us for a lap. Then just when you come into the last 2 corners, you can just slow down just to make sure everyone's together. You'll then hold the formation single file towards the line.
So guys, we're just waiting. They're busy discussing the start procedure for the next race. I'm just waiting for my invite so that I can do some broadcasting and keep you guys up to date on what is happening. Let me see if I can get in on the old invite.
And now, which chat you on? One meeting already.
Right, so it's let me in, which is fantastic news. So it has made me director again. So guys, I'll be able to show you what's happening throughout the race as we prepare ourselves for race number 2 of this evening, race number 6 in the championship, reverse grid for the top 6 finishers, and it should be one hell of a race. Dylan's going to have to get past his teammate again. Maybe they'll be chatting and trying to figure out maybe a better strategy as to, compared to race 1. Ryan, if your teammate was following you and had a bit more pace, would you have let him through to go and chase down that leader, maybe a little bit earlier than Jake's did?
From my side, I probably would, because if he's going to be quicker than me, sure, why not?
But we do still have the red mist, of course, that sometimes blocks that avenue of thought. So it will be interesting to see now with the reverse grid, with Dylan having to start behind Jakes this time, and of course with Ash hot on Dylan's trail, wanting that victory. I don't know. I missed last race. I'm not too sure. Do you know offhand who won the previous race or the previous 2 races in Alpha Tier, Ryan? Right, chaps. So Ryan has left us again. He seems to also be having internet issues. And we are busy loading up, getting ready for race 2. Remember, guys, that it will look like a standing start, but the guys will pull away and get into position for that top 6 reverse grid race. In the rain, I'm hoping the track might have reset and some of that water might have come off the track. I'm not too sure how the weather model will work. As we get ready, let's pop down to JohannVdV. So we get sort of a middle ground on where we're watching for the start. Right, so remember, guys, it'll look a little bit chaotic as they pull away here, but it is a formation lap, so the guys can get those top 6 positions all sorted out and in place for the start. I believe Adrian Bond will be leading us off, in fact, for the first sort of race. Someone stopped there on the grid. I'm guessing it's someone that needs to be at the back. Sly Pete and Vaughan Hills, very cuddly at the moment. I wonder if maybe Sly Pete hasn't disconnected or a pedal issue of some kind. I hope Vaughan hasn't gotten any damage from that. I doubt it. It would have been a very soft nudge. But Sly Pete definitely looking like he's got a little bit of a technical problem, not getting away from the line. I'm sure he's frantically trying to fix it, or at least he's now going backwards. So let's go back and watch the guys getting back up into position. We've got Adrian Bond taking pole position on the reverse grid for race number 2. Jakes is in third. The Horn Dog, our Bravo Tier champion, starting in second. This will be a brilliant opportunity. He was showing some very good pace, pretty much the same pace as the top 2 guys. So if he can keep that pace and keep it nice and clean, I reckon he might even be in here for a win, guys. It'll be very interesting to watch. Jake's in third, Lima in fourth, Dylan in fifth, and our race 1 winner, Ashley, up or down into 6th place. Then behind them, we've got Robert, we've got Brandon, we've got Vaughan, we've got Terry in 10th, who dragged that broken car home. Thankfully for race 2, he will, all that damage, I should say, will be repaired, and it will feel like a fantastic vehicle underneath them. Maybe he can find some speed now that that car will play along a little bit more. Then we've got Gav down 11th, who was running in second until he had a disconnect, which was very unfortunate. And JohannVdV down in 12th place, again, was having a good run in the top 10. In fact, I think he might even have been in the top 6 or 7 before he also suffered a disconnect. Right, I just want to see where we are on track. The guys, I don't even think they should bother trying to keep heating their tires with this rain. You're going to rock up at the first corner with a set of black stones underneath your vehicle with not much grip. As we come to the final last few turns, Adrian Bond will now start to close up the pack. And let's go down to Jake's. We want to get a nice sort of mid-pack starting view. Dylan down in 5th place, chomping at the bit, I'm sure. Definitely one of the favourites to win this race too. And there's lights flashing. We know that Adrian Bond will be making the call, and that is go. It looks like it's go. Ash already nibbling on the back of Dylan, not wanting to get too far as we hurtle down to turn 1. Looks all clean. Everybody's sort of giving each other space. The Horn Dog taking a bit of a lunge. The tighter line not working there. Adrian Bond gets up in first place. Jake's holding third. Jake's looks like he's got a fantastic run now on the Horn Dog, obviously compromising himself slightly with that tighter line going through turn 1 and 2. Ash up into fourth, an absolute blinding start. He will definitely, and Jake's, I think, trying to avoid the back of the Horn Dog. Ash takes a spin, waiting now. That's horrible. Dylan and Ash, in fact, way down there. Ash getting started again in last place. He will have to drive the wheels of that car to keep his fantastic rates of finishes up. But yes, there we go. Our leader, Adrian Bond, followed closely, terribly closely, by the Horn Dog, who seems to have a little bit of a run on the outside. I don't think that's a place to pass, but it looks like, there we go, Horn Dog taking the inside, beating Adrian Bond down there, maybe just a little bit more confident on the tyres at the moment. And Jakesy boy, there's a lot of jostling going on there. Guys, let me see where everyone lands up. Jakes has taken second place, but there is a huge snake now behind Jakes, giving the Horn Dog a little bit of breathing room. Jakes runs wide. He's going to have to slow down or take a penalty there. One of the two, but that should give Adrian Bond a very good run. That green paint on the outside of that corner would have been very, very, very slippery. And as you can see, different lines. The guy's struggling to hold on to those cars, even down the straight. Jakes tosses it in, keeps it nice and tight, focusing, I reckon, on that drive down that long straight. We've got Adrian Bond now down into fourth place. Brandon DeSantos, fifth place, going really fantastically. But guys, this is an absolute queue down towards turn 1. Robert in sixth. Dylan, after a little bit of a spin or a twirly-whirly down earlier in the lap, up into 7th place again. And Vaughan in 8th. Terry, a position up on what he was, with a car looking a hell of a lot better than it was earlier, right up into 9th. Gav, our 2nd place runner from the previous race that had a disconnect, trying to go around the outside of Terry. That is a very different line. Didn't pay off. Puts you on that slippery curb, and you just don't get the drive out. JohannVdV having a little bit of a wiggle. Ash trying to make up places after that spin. Maybe just pushing a little bit too hard. Maybe a little bit overconfident. But you can see the car control that he has is just absolutely brilliant. Going down the inside of JohannVdV, I don't think Johan will give him too much of a trouble. He knows Ash is after the top positions and working his way up the grid now. As we go up to the battle for 2nd and 3rd, half a second in it, that is Lima chasing down Jakes. It took him a while, number 48, to get through on a few of the cars, but definitely showing his pace now. Up into 3rd with a little bit of, following the front guys. It always helps sometimes just to get a little bit of line guidance and braking guidance from some of the guys. We know Jakes is an absolute veteran of SARCO, brilliantly fast, and definitely someone you can learn from. Dylan on a charge up into 5th place, taking Brandon. He definitely wants to get up there. I think that is he's now crawled back to the position in which he started before he had a little bit of an issue in turn 1. Right, then we are following Brandon, showing us just how tricky that car is at the moment to get around the track. Dylan going around, looking for the outside there on the straight, funny enough, hoping to nab the inside for turn 1. It'll be very interesting. He seems to have the run, and it'll be interesting to see how hard Adrian is willing to fight him, but it looks like Adrian has actually given him that place. You know, Dylan, off you go. Let's go and see what you can do. Oh, Dylan gets onto the grass, back end sliding, cutting in front of Adrian, but still managing to keep it on track. Dylan now, with the same predicament that he has in race 1, the teammate is ahead of him. And will the Mamba allow the second Mamba pass? Well, we'll have to see. It wasn't that easy in race 1. It will be very interesting to see if maybe they had a chat and said, listen, whoa, as we've got Gav going wide. Sorry about that, cameraman Tim giving us some trouble. No, sorry, that wasn't Gav going wide. My apologies, Gav. I do just want to make a point. Ash, our race 1 winner, has fought his way up to 8th already, and already on the back of Vaughan. He will definitely see that Dylan is up in 4th place, and there'll be some bragging rights to who managed to cock it up and fix it up the best in race number 2. Guys, as we chat, again, I'd just like to mention a big thank you as we see Vaughan going off. A big thank you to Autowash at Fourways Gardens Shopping Centre for supporting SARCO in our Vintage Porsche Cup Championship. And remember, guys, that if you go down there and you quote the name SARCO, you will get 15% off their normal rates, which is a fantastic deal. Get down there, guys. Support him. You can't go wrong. Our other sponsor, Simstuff Racing, who has developed a button box. We actually chatted to Johan, and he's developed a button box for project cars and for PS4, and it is something, especially in your Assetto Corsa leagues, which is definitely going to be needed. He is also sponsoring a set of mag shift upgrades for a Logitech G29, which will just give you a fantastic feeling when changing those gears. So thanks again to our sponsors. We really do appreciate it. And guys, if you need a button box or you need mag shift upgrades, let's get hold of JohannVdV. Let's support our guys at SARCO. If you need your car washed, get it down to Autowash in Fourways Garden Shopping Centre. And support our guys. Thanks very much to our sponsors. As we head back into the racing, it looks like Dylan this time has made short work of his teammate Jakes and catching the Horn Dog quite quickly. Ash has got himself up into 5th place, which is fantastic news, fighting after that lap 1 spin, fighting his way from last all the way back up to 5th place. So as we stand, we've got the Horn Dog, our Bravo tier champion, up in 1st place, followed by Dylan. Dylan now in 2nd place. Dylan is really putting on a charge. We've got Lima in 3rd place, Jake's in 4th, Ash in 5th, Gav, who was running beautifully in race 1 before. Right, guys, I'm going to just keep chatting in the hope that you guys can hear me. It looks like the stream, in fact, might have frozen. I'm not too sure, so let me get onto YouTube and have a look. Right, guys, I hope you can hear me. I'm not too sure. Dylan now has closed right up to the back of the Horn Dog and definitely wanting that victory, sliding that car around on the ragged edge. Look at that, setting it up beautifully before corner entry and powering out down the straight. Oh, big puff of water, well, splash of water as they hit the brakes. Dylan, sliding, maybe just a little bit of turbulence from the car in front of him, but very, very, very close now at the front. Ash now also climbing onto the back of Jake's, really pushing hard. He wants to get up as far as he can after leading the race and making that mistake in turn one. He is definitely trying his hardest to get back onto Jake's, losing the back a little bit there. Right, so with just under 4 minutes to go, we have Dylan really giving the Horn Dog huge pressure. In fact, that says that Dylan has gone past, but it doesn't show that on the screen. So I wonder what is going on there. No, sorry, I'm watching the wrong person. Dylan has taken the lead, guys, and he is absolutely storming. Dylan, keep it on the track now. And sorry about that little delay, guys. We seem to have a little bit of a technical, but I do believe the mic is working now. As we watch, Dylan has now taken the lead, flinging that car around. Dylan, do not toss it. I reckon we've got 2 laps to go. He's just got to look after that car and get it home. But he has absolutely fantastic speed. 2-minute 15s with our other guys only in the 2-minute 17s. That said, the Horn Dog definitely doing well. We've still got Lima up in 3rd place. He's been pretty solid up in 3rd place, and I think it looks like it's, barring a mistake, Ashley doesn't seem close enough to be able to make up that time in 2 laps. Remember, Ash was started in 6th, made his way up to 1st place, and then had a spin and has worked his way from 12th place back up to 4th. A absolutely brilliant drive, though still being hustled by the leader's teammate, the Mumbers, still hustling Ash. I'm sure Jakes would love to take a couple of points off Ash and help Dylan in the championship. Right, so let's go through. We know the top 5 are, we've got Gav, cameraman Tim needs to catch up. We've got Gav down in 6th place, little bit on his own, having a little bit of a ball. He was running beautifully in race 1 until his disconnect. Then we've got Brandon in 7th place. It is actually Brando Skills, not Brando Sanders, as I said before. I do apologize. Also seems to be enjoying the conditions, out on his own, a little bit of space. Right, then 8th place we've got Adrian Bond. Adrian Bond starting this race due to the reverse grid in pole position and leading the guys round for lap 1, but maybe just struggling in the conditions, down in 8th place. Then in 9th place, our Simstuff Racer and one of our sponsors, JohannVdV, and he looks like he's been in the wars a little bit there, a little bit of nose damage, but still in the top 10, doing very, very, very well. 10th place in, well, that car's not even dirty, is Vaughan Hills. and he seems to just be taking it around, slinging it left and right, doing the Scandi flick, trying to get this car. What? That was a Scandi flick too far. Commentators curse, spinning it round, and but somehow he's managed to keep that car spotless. He probably has it washed at Autowash at Fourways Garden Shopping Centre. He mentioned SARCO. He got his 15% discount, and that is fantastic. Robert, well, as we go off there, down in 11th place, and Terry doing 2 minute 48. He does not seem to be enjoying this condition. Down in 12th place. Right, then, as we see, as I said before, Ashley not closing in on Lima in third position. So that podium position for Ash coming from the back looks like it's a little bit out of reach. The Horn Dog, nice and clear in front of Lima, definitely by no means safe. With these wet conditions, a spin at any point could give a position up quite quickly. Dylan, on the other hand, flinging that car around, absolute car control. It must be the white gloves that he wears while he's driving, just giving him more feel than anyone else. Has, in fact, also in lap one, had a little bit of a spin, got his head down, got control of the car, and is absolutely storming at the moment. 4.8 seconds ahead of second place, the Horn Dog. Like I said before, Bravo Tier champion, no slouch by any measure. And Dylan just seems to have the measure of this car as he touches the brakes going into the last corner. And this could be the end of the race. It looks like we may have run out of time. My time remaining says there is no time remaining. So it looks like Dylan is going to bring it home 6 seconds ahead of the Horn Dog, flashing his lights. A absolutely brilliant drive. Second place, we have the Horn Dog coming across the line safely in second place ahead of Lima, and Ashley coming down the straight now from the last place, bringing it home in fourth. He can pat himself on the back. In these conditions, having to work your way through the field, very well done. Then we've got Gav coming through. Looks like we've got someone on the side there that's given up the goat. It looks like it might be Terry. Gav coming through, flashing lights. The other Mamba up in sixth place. Fantastic drive, Jakes. 2 solid positions. Then we have Brando, who's, like I said, managed to keep that car as well beautifully clean, coming home in 7th position. Adrian Bond coming around the last turn now onto the straight. He'll be very happy with that 8. Yes, starting in pole, he had the opportunity, but guys, this is Alpha Tier. You need to be on it if you want that win. And I'm sure he'll be happy with those points in 8th position. Right, 9th position coming through, we have JohannVdV with a very second-hand looking car. Our Simstuff sponsor, I'm sure he's running a button box there. He needed always a bit of a showboat at the end there. And definitely we could call it a showboat in these conditions here tonight. Then 10th place coming through the last corner, we have Hills, who is, again, I think it's that color scheme. They seem to keep him very clean, bringing that car home in 10th position. Very nice drive. Robert, very dirty car, flashing lights, giving it a spin out of turn 1, bringing that car home in 11th. And then I get the feeling that, well, there we go. Terry's still swinging it around, pretty determined to finish the race. Terry going wide. But, Terry, not your night, maybe not your conditions, maybe not your car, but finishing the race, not giving up, that is a fantastic result. Right, let's wait to see. Let's get our top 3 guys into the chat lobby so that we can ask them how the race went. I'm sure Dylan is going to be very chuffed with that victory, and we will not hear the end of it for a while. Right, so there we have confirmation. Dylan first, the Horn Dog second, Lima third, Ashley fourth, Gavin fifth, Jakes in sixth, Brando in seventh, Adrian Bond eighth, JohannVdV ninth, Vaughan Hills in 10th, and we have Robert in 11th, and Terry down in 12th. Right, guys, if they will join me in the Discord so we can chat to the top three. That is correct. So we are waiting for our interviews with Ashley, Lendl, and Dylan. Of course, Ashley taking race 1 victory, Dylan taking race 2 victory. I can see already Dylan's... It's a good thing Dylan has headphones on, or else the top of his head might have fallen off with that smile wrapping around. But definitely worth it. Guys, let me know when you're in so that I can start my long line of questioning. Dylan, can you hear me?
So I am able to hear you, Craig.
Fantastic. So, Dylan, a absolutely fantastic drive in race 2 there. A little bit of a wobble. What happened on lap 1?
I saw Ashley go wide, and I thought, well, what I'll do... I saw Ashley coming on the inside, so I thought I'll just give him enough space because it looked like he might be taking way too much speed. He ran a bit wide, just slotted in behind him, and then going into turn 5, he went off, and I tried to turn back on the track, but I felt I didn't have the grip, so I went the long way around and rejoined. I think it was down in 8th or something.
Fantastic. Well, a second up on your previous best time. Well, I say that I'm talking about in similar conditions, and you definitely had the handle on the handling of that vehicle. Some Scandi flicks, setting up the car before setting the car up before the corner, and then of course not battling as hard as you did with your teammate in race 2.
Yeah, I think what happened there is he obviously realized that, hold on, that Dylan is hoying here. Let me go, and looked like that he did give me the place going down the back straight.
Yeah, we did see that. Then I'm going to hop over to Lima, isn't it? Is that correct? What's the real name?
Lendl is not here, but you can Lendl is not.
You can speak to Andrew.
Go to Andrew.
Oh, Andrew. Okay, so we've got Andrew. How's it, Andrew? Andrew, I must be honest. I was shouting for you in race 2. I was expecting great things from second place there, especially since we saw your times. How did you enjoy that race?
Yeah, Craig, I think it was. It wasn't the easiest race I've ever done. I got home about 10 minutes before Ashley's invite came in, so made it a bit of a challenge. But yeah, look, having just jumped in for the fun of it at the last minute, with no practice, I'm quite happy with that one. No,
very nicely done. Congratulations. Very nicely driven. And we really glad to have had to show that the SARCO tiers works. Winner of Bravo tier last season, showing us how it's done in Alpha this season.
I wouldn't say that. I think Dylan had a great show there. Dylan was really in a class of his own there.
Fantastic. Well, thanks very much. It was good fun watching. Ashley. Brilliant race 1. We all enjoyed that. You destroyed them in race 1, and then race 2 happened. And we saw your spin, and we knew you had the pace. But I think once you got up to sort of 4th position, the gap was maybe just a little bit too far.
Yeah, it was impossible to catch the guys up in the head. I made 2 mistakes. The one right in the beginning. Then also went to the back of Johan VDV. So sorry about that, Johan. and then had to wait for
Never,
him while
it's
he
never a good
recovered.
idea to bump the sponsors, Ash.
Had
But
to,
yeah, it looked like
wait for him and
looked
then,
like a hell of a lot of
try
fun.
go through the field. Yeah, it was a lot of fun. It was great fun.
Yeah. Track conditions definitely looked like they got worse as the race went on, and it's the
almost
I'm
impossible.
definitely agreeing there. But well done, guys! Brilliant show. It's not ideal for you guys when you have a spin in the beginning, but it always makes for a great race when your top 3 or 4 have to work their way back to the field. So I want to say thanks. That was brilliant, and yeah, flat out.
Thanks, Craig,
Thanks
for
very much.
commentating.
Thanks, guys.
Dylan, well done, Andrew. Well done to Lendl as well. And yeah, can't wait for the next race.
Fantastic.
Thanks, guys.
So,
Enjoy
our next-
Good racing.
Yeah, let's do it. Fantastic. Thanks, guys.
Ciao.
Cool.
Sorry, guys. Tyler, just make me the director, please. I'll share the screen with Craig. Brandon, you're the host. Okay.
Why can't I be director?
What did you do to deserve this?
That's it.
What did you do to deserve what, Tyler?
This is right. Alright.
Right, Dylan, you there? I'm going to give you the lead for the Bravo Tiers commentator.
Craig doesn't have to go, but you need to make Chase the broadcaster, myself the director, so Chase is the broadcaster.
Yeah, same thing.
So guys, we're just waiting for Bravo Tier to get sorted out and everybody in the lobby. The thumbs up are beginning to show, so we should be racing very shortly.
Just go to my microphone.
Okay, I'm out.
Okay. Craig's out.
All right, Craig. You have left. Don't worry, we'll share the screen just so that you're not running too many things at once, and then you'll just have to watch on the Discord.
Everyone ready?
Cool. My live stream on the Discord is giving trouble, but right, Dylan. As I was saying, I'm going to give you the lead in the commentating for Bravo Tiers race. I don't think I've ever spoken so much in my life in an hour, but it was good fun.
I'm glad you enjoyed it. It was hard work. Absolutely hard work.
It looked like it. Tommy, do those white gloves give you an advantage, do you reckon?
Yes, they do.
Or is it the November?
No, it's definitely the November.
Okay.
Guys, D's got to come
Fantastic.
back. Stand by.
Definitely let D in, guys. He is our sponsor from Autowash, Fourways Garden Shopping Centre, so we definitely cannot leave him out of it. Ash admitting that he bumped JohannVdV in race 2, and like I said, never a great idea to bump your sponsor, guys. You're supposed to give them just a slight bit more than a car width when passing a sponsor, but I know JohannVdV enjoys his racing. He will take that one on the chin and be back giving Ash a hard time in the next round.
No, look, it's never a good idea to do that, but I do see that there are some guys missing. So we are going to have to tell these guys they just need to calm themselves down a bit, because there are 3 drivers not in this lobby, and these are guys that are confirmed earlier on.
Well, like I said, guys, we're just trying to get everybody lined up and ready to go. And while we're waiting, I just like, again, I know we say it a lot, but these guys have put their faith in us and sponsored our series. And I'd really like to say a big thank you to Autowash, Fourways Garden Shopping Centre, for supporting SARCO as we become, I reckon, the greatest racing community in South Africa. But I am, of course, completely biased. So, again, remember, guys, if you go to Autowash and you quote SARCO, you automatically get 15% off their normal rates. And that is a great deal. And like we said, D racing with us in Bravo tier. And I'm sure you wouldn't even have to drop your car off. You could mention SARCO, get your 15% discount, and stand there while they're washing your car, talking racing with D, and that alone is a good enough reason to go.
Then,
Then
100%. Sorry, what I'm just trying to do is just get Tyler's attention, because we do want to get these
Go
three
for
drivers in.
Go for it. I'm trying to do the punting like Stephen normally would, so work with me, chaps. Then again, a big thank you to Simstuff Racing, JohannVdV, who we called a mad scientist and didn't like it, but he is the mad scientist of our racing, because he managed to get a button box working, which is no easy feat. And he has sponsored one of these button boxes to SARCO for the season, and he too has sponsored a set of Magshift G29 upgrades. Sorry, guys, I don't know if their voices are blocking mine at all. Right, so Dylan, like I was saying, Simstuff Racing sponsoring us a button box and Magshift upgrades for the G29. And as I was saying before, definitely something that is now needed for Assetto Corsa, with all the options on the fly that you need to change to get a GT3 car around a track really quickly.
Most definitely. The only challenge that old JohannVdV is figuring out is that the Assetto Corsa and the button box are not compatible. So this button box, the reason we are giving it away here at the Project Cars game is because it is still compatible there.
Okay, fantastic. Well, I'm sure our mad scientist will sort it out soon enough. Johan has also put a few little sort of clauses needed to be able to be eligible for these fantastic prizes. And that is that, guys, be on time for the racing, which is not a lot to ask. We do race at night. It is quite a tight schedule. And the next one is, of course, be present at all the races in the championship. You know, it's show up, do the races, get them done. And the other thing would be that get your internet connection sorted. I was saying earlier that racing is a very technical sport, and sim racing, one of the technical things needed to be sorted out is your internet connection. So, guys, let's get that sorted and make yourself eligible for those fantastic prizes.
Most definitely.
Right, Dylan, how far are we to go time?
We are just resending the invites. There are a couple of guys that are coming in, and we have contacted the missing drivers, so we will be racing shortly.
Fantastic. Right. So, Dylan, I'm going to go out because my stream just keeps rolling and rolling and rolling. So I just want to see if I can reset it quickly.
Sure, go for it.
Because I'd like to actually see what's happening in the racing. So let me close that. I shall be back. I am back. Is the stream up and running yet?
So the stream is still going.
So let me press watch stream and see what it does. There we go. I am in. Right. So Dylan, what are you expecting for Bravo Tiers Racing? A little bit of chaos in the rain?
Well, the thing is that there definitely is chaos waiting. But the beauty about it is if you just keep the car on the track, understand how the car brakes and how you're able to throw it into the corner, then there shouldn't be too much drama.
Well, Dylan, you make it sound so easy, but all those things require quite a little bit of talent, and most of all, I think, requires quite a bit of luck. You know, not hitting a puddle and keeping it on the ragged edge. I reckon some of the guys might be taking a more of a slow and steady wins the race approach. You know, get round, don't damage the car. Maybe not as much Scandi flicks as you were putting in there.
Well, the whole thing about getting this car to rotate is to do the Scandinavian flick.
Yeah, I do know that. But I'm trying to give options. Yeah.
The brakes don't really work. What works really nicely is you just ease that pressure. Once the pressure is on and you start feeling the car slowing down, you gear down, and that's when you start getting that grip in the rear. Then as it starts rotating, that's when you're able to just put the accelerator on, and the car just slides around so nicely.
Fantastic. Well, Dylan, I think that just boils down to a lot of practice, figuring out how all that works. So it will be interesting now in this race to see who has put the time in. I think that's pretty much in wet racing. What it boils down to is just a feel for the car and a feel for the circuit. And when you sim racing, a lot of the feeling that you would normally go on is not there. So the only way to take or to make up that feeling is just pure hours behind the wheel. And yeah,
I must say then I definitely got lucky, because I did a little 20-minute session before the race and I just found it.
Well, that's good. But again, a lot of our guys come from racing. Dylan himself doing a lot of kart racing, and you pick up the feel of what the machine is doing underneath you very, very quickly. You know, you've got the basics sort of ingrained, and that just helps you forward and helps you pick up things much quicker.
Yep, without a doubt.
That said, though, Terry had a shocking race, but I don't feel that Terry's really connected and not really enjoying this car in this series.
Must agree with you there.
Just
issues with the wheel.
Okay.
It isn't quite hooking up as you want to. Adrian invited you back because you essentially have championship points here that you need to be defending.
Okay.
Oh, so Adrian's supposed to be in Bravo.
Yeah, so what happened is that Johanneman unfortunately has had to pull out due to work commitments. So he was promoted for this race to take those points, but he essentially is driving in a Bravo tier.
Fantastic. Well, he had a fantastic showing in Alpha tier. In fact, being pole position for race 2, which was a fantastic result.
So if you send an invite, it turns on his PlayStation. We need to get
So guys, we are waiting for everyone to get
sorry,
ready.
Craig, I was just trying to get hold of some of the other drivers who are missing.
No worries.
But what I'm going to do is I'm going to give the guys in the lobby the go-ahead to go.
Yeah, I think that's best. What I was saying is, Dylan. Woo! Give them horns, Adrian. Right, so I see everybody is nearly all readied up. And there we go.
That's it.
We are going into
We
our
are
qualifying.
going. Gotta make sure. I am the race director. I just need to remember that.
Please do. And let's see how Bravo Tier goes around Imola. Again, like I said before, Formula One returning to Imola this year, which was fantastic to watch. A circuit absolutely steeped in history, and an enjoyable race.
Yeah, I must say I
Quick
quite
question.
enjoyed it too.
I'm still waiting for your cheat sheet.
No, that's impossible. I sent that thing very long ago.
PDF one.
That is correct.
Oh, well. Right, guys. So here we go. Qualifying for race 1, Bravo Tier, round 3 of the Vintage Porsche Cup. The World Championship. Vintage Porsche Cup. No.
So it was a little bit of tongue-in-cheek. Is that the little promotional video that went up? I tagged in Porsche South Africa and said, I hope you guys want to just come have a watch as we revisit these legends. I don't think they're watching.
Well, we can hope.
They should be. Them in next week.
We should be. SARCO is putting on one hell of a show. Not just with this series, Dylan, but with our GT3s in the previous series, where I must just mention that I came second. Also running Porsches and great racing in that series as well. So SARCO definitely promoting the Porsche brand as a race car. And come on, Porsche, get involved, get hold of Dylan, and let's see where we can squeeze you guys in. I mean, you don't have to build us a racetrack or anything like that, but definitely get involved.
Yeah, most definitely. We'll take it with open arms. Now, Craig, I don't know if you saw that, but Adrian, going into turn 1 and 2, he was up on the curb. And that's part of the secret that I was that I was using.
Yes.
Even down at Ravaza, both 14 and 15, making sure I took a lot of that inside curb.
So does that hook the tires basically just on and give you just a little bit more of a toss around the corner?
That is exactly what it does.
I'm guessing though that red car, that's not the line you were talking about.
No. Oh.
Okay.
Adrian getting a
what I did notice though is coming out of that chicane that we were just watching Adrian Bond going into, is that green paint on the outside is terribly slippery. We saw Jake's actually taking it a few times and losing massive drive to whoever was chasing him. So yeah, definitely use the curbs, but that green paint, maybe stay away from that.
Yeah, without a doubt. And I kept, I don't know if you saw that last little kink there just before the start-finish line. That paint there is also very tricky.
Okay.
It was trying to cut the line going through there. I hit it and just about lost the rear. I thought, we're definitely going to be staying off.
Rather stay away. Yeah, that's a good idea.
Nice curves there for Colin.
Colin also using those curbs very, very nicely. Not flicking it as much as maybe you were, but early days, guys still getting the feel of the conditions, and sometimes the guys practice with rain on in single player, but the track conditions differ when you get into multiplayer quite a little bit, and maybe just feeling around and seeing what the current track conditions are like. A little bit of a battle going on. Guys, remember that it's qualifying. You need to set your quickest time. A lot of weaving going on behind Colin there. But I'm sure
who is that? Well, there's Donovan, Dane, Tyler. Oh, okay. So it was Tyler that was behind him.
Was it Tyler giving the weave? Okay. Like I said, guys, it's qualifying rounds. You need to set your best time on a already tricky circuit. Rather back out and, try a little bit later, or make a bit of a gap. Get those tyres as warm as you can, and try the next lap, rather than getting into a bit of a tussle and losing time and getting frustrated and running wide and things like that. But, what do I know? I'm just the commentator.
Yeah, I must say I did hold my breath twice, where I had Andrew Horn on my inside coming out of turn number 8 down towards turn 9 and 10. And I just held it on the inside. Coming out of turn number 8, Andrew was a little bit wide. We're going side by side down the hill. We had a little bit of a touch. Man, oh man, my heart. And then later on in the second heat, he did a similar thing, and I was able to sneak up on the inside there as well.
Yeah, very nice driving. There's the start of some of the first flicks from Tyler, and there's Ryan, who was had a bit of connection issues with the commentary earlier, but also trying that Scandi flick. Everyone seems to now starting to after watching the Alpha Boys at it, trying to give that tail a bit of a wiggle in and out of each of the corners. Very, very interesting.
So, I took a huge gamble. All my practice and everything that I did was on the loose setup. My qualifying, yes. I was on the loose setup. And just before we started, I changed over to the stable. And at the beginning, it was tricky. But as it got closer to the end, I think that's where I started getting a little bit more drive coming out of the corners. And it looks like my gamble paid off in the end.
Yeah, I think the stable setup would be a bit more understeery, and that's definitely a little bit easier to handle in wet conditions like this, where you can, if your front is understeering, it gives you just a little bit more leeway to use the throttle pedal to turn the rear, instead of the rear wanting to turn via setup, if you know what I mean.
Yep. The other thing that helped me was that 3/4 throttle, short shifting out of second, and then just progressively squeezing that power on.
Well, these cars have got ginormous turbos on, and sort of ginormous turbo legs. I can imagine you want to sort of stay out of that smash from the turbo as you're exiting corners. So short shifting, keeping those revs slightly low, using the drive rather than the pure grunt from that turbo would definitely be a good idea. As we watch Michael going wide there. Michael, like I said, almost round 2, but Michael did very, very well in round 1, if I remember correctly.
So Michael is currently sitting 4th overall in the championship, and he is only a couple of points behind Tyler, who's in 3rd. So 5 points there, and we've got Adrian, who's currently in 2nd place, with Vincent, who's unfortunately not racing this evening. No power there for him. So Adrian's got 31 points behind Vincent. So a good result there, and we'll see Vincent dropping down the order.
Right, guys, here we go. Start of race number 1, round number 3 of our vintage Euro Cup, a Porsche World Championship. I've got to put the World Championship. The Americans can have American Football World Championships. Why can SARCO not have the vintage Porsche Euro Cup World Championship Racing going out live to you on YouTube and Facebook?
I agree. Absolutely agree.
Right, it looks like our thinking is done. Everyone has stopped thinking about what is going on. And we are about to start.
Oh, great start there by Brandon. Start. Look at that.
Beautiful start. No, he caught them napping on that one. That is for sure. As they head down to turn 1, Dylan, you know the names of corners. I barely know the names of my wife and child. So you're welcome to use those. I just use the words insides, outsides, slippery and spinning. And that's how I get us through it. So I'll leave the corner names to you. But a very neat start by all of them. Nobody bumping into anybody. Nobody spinning. And like I said, one hell of a start there from Brandon.
No, most definitely. He did get a great launch off the start. Everyone is clear through turns 1 into 2 and 3 in the chicanes through the Tamburello. And now Brandon's starting to pull away ahead of Sarge, nearly a second there. And then we've got Michael in third place with Adrian. I'm sure he's looking to get himself further up to start closing that gap down on the current championship leader, Vincent, who unfortunately are not racing as I mentioned earlier. But you can see lots and lots of close racing so early on. And this is that crazy little corner coming down the hill towards turn number 9 and 10. This is through Ancre Murinali. I absolutely butchered that, so we'll just call it 9 and 10. As Tyler runs himself a little bit wide, we got Adrian and Michael
like I
side
said,
by
you've got to
side.
be careful. That green paint on the exit of that corner just loses all traction, and whoever's racing you, if they don't get onto that green paint, they're going to drive past you, Dylan. That is for sure. In fact, sorry, there's the green paint I was talking about. I have premature cornerlation. So off we go. They close up on each other, going down the hill now, heading towards the second last corner. Definitely a hard braking zone, very difficult in the wet. We've seen a couple of guys go off and do their spinning there, but I reckon from the little bit that I know that your exit of the final turn for that long straight is vitally important.
So the thing about that turn number 13, there's a little dip in there as you go into the braking zone. So you kind of got to brake before you go down the hill. You touch the brakes, gear down, go down the dip, hit the brakes, and then gear down, let the car rotate. So we're
Interesting.
on board with Adrian. You can see lots of curve there, and there's still a little bit of a dry line as they exit out of turn number 4.
Definitely a bit of drive out of there, out of turn 4, heading to down towards this corner.
Now turn number 5 into turn number 6. This is the Villeneuve.
That one.
That's the one.
Villeneuve
Now into turn number 7. So
I actually knew that.
This corner for me, second gear, brake nice
Short
and late,
shift.
straight line, and then what happens is you hit it into second, it rotates the rear. Once that rear is rotated, it's a half throttle and it just pulls you out.
Dylan, it's amazing to see with that onboard shot, when you are following someone so closely, how little visibility you've got for your brake markers and exactly where you are and your apexes on the track.
Well,
very
let's actually
difficult
get
to follow.
a closer view, and there you go. And you can see
Fantastic.
how Michael in the front, that rear was just squirming left and right, trying to find that traction as he exits out of turn number, I lost myself there, turn number 12 is where we're going through now.
Definitely a much better run. As you can see, that car on the outside now, getting that, I think Adrian got a little bit of a twisty coming out there because he seemed to have lost drive coming out of that corner. Now heading down the hill. Are these two teammates?
They are not. They just happen to be
really like the same colours. We were saying, I was saying, seeing I was the only one saying anything in Alpha Tier, that it looks like SARCO is becoming a very team-orientated sort of race club. New signings happening and, new announcements always on the horizon for who's driving with who and who's moving where. All very exciting. Become a little bit of a British football club scenario. Far less money changing hands, though, I can promise you that.
Ooh, that's a great move there by Adrian. Will he be able to go around the outside? No, he's going to try the cutback. They are side by side. Was that Sarge? You got a bit of a puddle there. Now he's going to be completely compromised. He's going to have both Adrian and Michael Koenig right on him.
I reckon Adrian's going to capitalize on that one, getting a better drive out of those corners. But Michael seems to be very, very clean on the exits. And that's just not giving.
How's that for
as
a
I
move?
say that, that's
that
one
for
way
a
of doing
move?
it.
You can see
But
Sarge.
like I was saying, Michael's very, very clean on his exits and not giving his competitor the opportunity to get the drive on him. Maybe a little bit slower in, but seems to be a little bit faster out.
Yeah, that's definitely my favourite corner on this track. Piratella is what it was called, turn number 8.
Fantastic. Well, seeing that Adrian is now passed, he is now trying to crawl onto the back of Ryan and doing it quite quickly, I must be honest.
You can just see as they get back into the wet stuff, the spray just kicks off. But Adrian's going to be a little bit wide on that green stuff. Will the car kick as he rejoins? No, it doesn't. So a nice and controlled return for him. We can see Ryan, that car is twitching left and right as he hits some of those puddles on the way through. There's that little dip you can see.
Yes. I could tell by the speed. Ryan has gone wide there. He definitely didn't, as you said, slow down as you're exiting there before the dip. I think he felt the pressure from Adrian, try to keep his foot in it, and that's just not possible. You have got to struggle for a little bit of speed before you get to the main braking zone.
And the thing is, with these cars, there's no ABS. So if you do hit those brakes and you hang on to them for too long, as we want to just see what's happening with Dane, because I saw that Tyler was closing up on him. But now Dane was down in 6th place. He is now dropped all the way down into 8th. So pity there for Dane.
Well, he'll have to work his way back up. Dylan, what I have noticed is these white, red and blue cars seem to stay fantastically clean versus all the other ones. I don't know if it's a little bit of a glitch in the system, but some of the cars look as if they've literally been 4x4ing, and those white, red and blue cars, they stay pretty much perfect.
Ooh, there's Donovan losing it into turn number 2. Just rotated a little bit too much, as I think that was
getting a position up, so he's given back to him now a little bit.
So
right, Dylan, if we can jump to Brandon, let's watch a little bit of the master at work, really showing the guys how it's done. Brandon, if I'm not mistaken, on a controller.
That's correct, and as you say that, he jumps all over those curves.
All over the curves, but still manages to keep his lead. Yeah, I think he is on the controller. If I could tell by the way he goes down the straight, if you know what I mean, the correction to his line. As I think maybe we should switch to somebody else, as we seem to be destroying poor Brandon's race by watching him. As Adrian now trying to catch up, but
it's too far away.
That's far too far. Brandon definitely capitalizing by Adrian having to fight his way past Michael, so he has got a little bit of gap, though he has given some of it away. It's still 11 seconds, 10 seconds.
Yeah, well,
am I seeing it right?
That's 14 seconds.
14 seconds.
So now Sarge and Michael now are back at it as they go into turn number 14. And it's all about who gets the drive out of 15 to set
That's
up.
it. Sarge trying that flick, but it looks like he pulled out of the flick sort of midway, and that's never going to work because your car will always be pointing in exactly the wrong direction when you try and straighten it up. Right, Sarge will be kicking himself as he comes down the straight now. He's trying to chase down Michael. Remember, this is for 3rd position, guys. This is the last podium position up for grabs. So it'll be interesting to see how quickly, if he can, Sarge can climb back onto the back of Michael and challenge for that podium position again.
So you can see, even with that mistake, Sarge still did a 2:20.26 versus Michael's 2:27. So with that mistake, Sarge still went a second quicker. So judging by that, I'm pretty sure that Sarge should be able to close him down.
But as they say, catching is one thing, passing is quite another. The rain with very different lines, making things very tricky. You're not quite sure where the car in front of you is going to end up when he starts to brake and turn. So making overtaking very tricky. And the guys here at SARCO, they do not like playing the bumping game. Yes, it does happen. Rubbing is racing, and it is always going to happen. But at SARCO, the guys really do make an effort to hang back and wait for that opportunity to make a clean overtake.
Most definitely, and that is part of. You can see the guys struggling to keep those cars in a straight line.
From the left lane to the right lane, braking hard into the chicane. This is where that green paint I keep mentioning is. You've got to try and stay off it. You don't, as you can see there, Sarge touching it and getting a bit squiggly coming out of there. And that just allows Michael just to have a little bit of a breather. But Sarge seems to have a very good run now, going down the hill. Again, though, braking just a little bit earlier, maybe looking for that drive through the second part of the section so that he's got the better drive down the straight, which it looks like he does. Pulls it in tight. He should have maybe just hung it out a little bit wider, let the car sort of run with the slide, and that would have given him a better drive. But let's go on board with him now, as you can see the visibility is absolutely shocking. Trying to decide where you're going to brake. Michael actually doing him a favor by sticking on the inside.
Yeah.
It means he can actually see where he needs to brake and turn, which is quite a little bit of help. And Michael compromising himself with that tighter line. And Sarge being the absolute gentleman, braking instead of trying to force the issue past there after Michael made a mistake. Brilliant driving by both of them.
What I don't understand is that Sarge doesn't have his windscreen wipers on, so it must be the view that he's using. But you can see that if we were in the cockpit, I wasn't quite sure what was happening there.
Well, maybe, like me, I look a hell of a lot better through frosted glass. Maybe he races better in frosted glass sort of settings.
Yeah, Ryan is definitely putting a lot of pressure on Stephen, and I'm sure it's just a matter of time now. Ooh, you can see cars kicking left,
choosing a line.
right.
Michael
Yes.
cutting him off. This is close, guys. Yeah, look, that 2 or 3 moves thing doesn't really count, and you could argue the fact that I was sliding on the water. So, but Michael going a little bit wide there, giving him though the better run down the hill, and we'll see now whether Sarge can get a better drive through here. And I reckon this uphill section is, if you can get a much better drive, is your best opportunity to overtake from what we've seen from the other races as well.
Yeah, it does look like Ryan's just not able to get that power down, because we do see that Michael's starting to pull a little bit of a gap now.
Like I said, Michael has a much smoother driving style. He seems to be using in the rain a lot more of a slower in, quicker out, and that's just frustrating his competitors, because his exit and sort of mid speed is a hell of a lot better than the guys that are flicking it are achieving. As you see, another example of it there, much slower than Ryan going into the corner, but his drive through the corner just a lot better. And again, catching is one thing, passing is quite another. Sarge needs to maybe start looking at maybe copying Michael's driving style for the exits, to try and close it up and close that gap up a little bit.
So I did want to just see, because I saw a little flick of the caution arrow. Dane is starting to close up on Tyler, nearly within a second, and nearly 5.5 minutes left. So we'll have 3 more laps. Just touching in with our race leader, Brandon.
Very lonely in the front there,
25 seconds ahead of Adrian.
Absolutely storming drive. Dylan doing a 2:12. And not to compare, but I'm pretty sure the conditions are the same as he goes off, of course, because we're watching. But Dylan, at this stage of the race, you were doing very quick 2:15s, just to give the guys an idea of the sort of pace that Brandon, we need to go and watch someone else, that Brandon is running 3 seconds quicker than the winner of race 2 in Alpha Tier.
That's pretty impressive.
That is very impressive. But before he loses all of that lead, maybe we should pop down and see how Donovan is doing.
What I would like to just remind you is that we'll have a look at the fastest lap time.
Understood, but in changing conditions, Dylan, what I did do was take note of the lap times and how they were fluctuating through the race. So like I
Getting worse.
said, the conditions in race 1 at this point, you and Ash were doing 2-minute 15s and 2-minute 16s. In fact, I lied, 2-minute 16s and 2-minute 17s. And Brandon managing to squeeze in a 2-minute 12. That is some serious pace.
That car is not looking happy.
It looks like he's hit a wall or he's hurt it quite heavily.
That car is crabbing. And with 2 more laps to go, I don't foresee Michael finishing in that 6th place.
Yeah, he looks like he's taking it very slow. But Dylan, as Terry did, Terry had terrible damage in race 1. Getting the car home, there aren't very many competitors tonight in Bravo tier, so even bringing it home in 8th place, you get those points. And at the end of the championship, those points might be the difference between winning the championship and 2nd or 3rd.
Most definitely. So always fight to the end is what I say.
That's it. Right. So we are nearing the end of the race with Brandon in 1st, Adrian Bond in 2nd, Sarge in 3rd, yes, Nimco, Colin in 4th, Tyler in 5th, Donovan in 6th, Michael crabbing around trying to get the car home in 7th, and Dane in 8th place. Dane having that bit of an issue early on in the race, and just doesn't seem to have recovered from there. Maybe he has a little bit of damage that he's nursing now. But again, look how beautifully clean those white cars are versus all the rest. So I don't understand. He obviously takes his Porsche to Autowash.
Most definitely.
Fourways Garden Shopping Centre. And he gets his 15% and he gets a really good wash on that white car. Look at it.
So our race leader, Brandon, this will be the final lap of this race. Just seeing that Brandon did a 2-minute 14. We've got just about 1 minute 45 left of this first heat here in the Bravo tier, and we will be getting rid of the qualifying, and the guys will go straight back into a 20-minute race.
Yes, that 20-minute race, of course, is rolling start, reverse grid for the top 6. So, as we stand now, Donovan will in fact be, am I correct?
That is correct.
Will be taking the pole position for race 2, leading the guys round, and of course controlling the start, which is always a little bit nerve-wracking for these guys. And definitely not a position I enjoy. But like I said, what do I know? I'm just the commentator.
The qualifier.
The qualifier. No, that is the one thing I am not.
No.
Is the qualifier.
Listen,
I can accept that.
I started in 7th, and that was me once again, just trying to get all the requirements for the stream up and done, and leave myself 1 lap to go and put in a time. The rain had been falling for 4 minutes, so there wasn't any way I was going to hit those 204s. And yeah, started 7th.
Yeah,
and patience
to be out there.
Patience.
Slow and steady.
Well, slow and steady in the beginning until the traffic was, and then giving it my all. I was trying to catch Ash, and I kept making stupid mistakes. So I realized, nope, let's just bank the position, and we'll give him a go at the next one.
That's it. Right, so there we go. Brandon Dos Santos winning, spinning, and in spectacular style celebrating his victory. Adrian from Alpha Tier, running really well Alpha Tier, coming through in 2nd position. Adrian Bond with his yellow and red liveried vintage Porsche. Well, this just shows you guys what a fantastic race Brandon Dos Santos has had. Adrian only coming through the last 2 corners now, giving us a bit of a show with that fantastic flick into the second last corner, and powering out of the final curve for a spectacular second place. Very well driven.
Yep, indeed.
Right, then we are waiting for Sarge. Sarge having a little bit of an up and down race, but getting that podium in the end. I wonder if he didn't have a helping hand in the Michael issue. I'm sure we'll hear about it soon. But yeah, him bringing it home in 3rd place on the podium, very nicely done. Definitely had to be considered as one of the favourites for this race, but I'm sure he'll be very happy with the podium spot.
Well, now that he starts in 3rd, he will have Brandon and Adrian behind him. He'll start in 4th, not 3rd, in 4th, with Adrian and Brandon behind him. Then coming home in a 4th place, that is Colin. And he is
in that super clean white car. 100%. It bugs me, I'm sorry. It really does. But yeah, then Colin bringing it home in 4th place with Tyler, bringing quite a bit of gap on these guys. But the rain will have that effect as people do various little spins and mistakes in various spots. But we did still have fantastic racing.
So it looks like Donovan
Michael
might have had a spin, and that's put Michael up into 6th place. So he's gonna bank some points. He will start
in pole position for race 2, which is exactly where he needed to be with the damaged car. You could see how he's absolutely struggling to get that car around the isn't straight to get it home to bag those points.
So I'm pretty sure he'll be really happy with that.
Right, guys, so there we have it. Brandon, Adrian, Sarge, Colin, Tyler, Michael, Donovan, and Dane. Those are our finishers, 8 finishers. Our fastest lap going to Brandon DeSantos with a 2:05.2. And like I said, his wet weather pace is what really astounded me. As the conditions got worse, Brandon seemed to have gotten better.
Yep. That 2:05 is very quick.
That is serious pace, yeah. Right, so guys, we wait now for the reverse grid race 2. Remember, it will be the guys will form up on the grid as if they were going to do a standing start, then pull away. And I do believe that Michael, who's finished in 6th, will go to the front and then control the pack for a rolling start on lap number 2. And again, I fantastically clean racing throughout, and I expect more of the same in race number 2.
Now it's top 6 reverse.
Yeah. No, I don't know what's happened here, Craig, but my little screen with everything in there is no longer there.
Well, on my side it says the stream without the is paused.
Oh goodness.
So folks, we'll give Dylan a few minutes to try and figure that out. I hope our voices are still going through and strong, but I'm sure Dylan will figure it out.
You know, sometimes technology just doesn't make sense. There we go. So it should be up and running again, Craig.
We are up and running. That is perfect. It looks good on my side, Dylan. I think it was probably cameraman Tim that had a hand in that. We have given him multiple warnings, but he seems to keep coming back.
Well, yeah, he is the only one that can take that camera, which is generally around turn number 7 to 5 to 7 is normally where he is. I don't know, maybe it's just like one of the worst places to be. Nevertheless, cameraman Tim keeps coming back and he keeps getting it wrong.
That is correct. Well, here we go, guys. We are going into race number 2. Like we said, top 6 positions get reversed, and it's going to be close. We've got Brandon, who we know has serious pace, needing to work his way up from 6th place if he wants to take that second victory.
Well, the thing is we know that that's where Ashley started, and I think possibly a little bit over ego in the first couple of corners. He ended up spinning himself off, and then had an almighty job to get himself through the field again.
Correct. I think you need to exercise a little bit of patience, something I'm not very good at. So sorry. And there we go. Is that the sync done? There we go. Syncing is happening. Remember, guys, this is a rolling start. So the first lap is a formation lap. The guys are not racing. As off they go, they will now get into position. Michael will get up to the front and start controlling the pace of the field as everyone jostles to get into their position.
So let's just have a quick look to see what's happening, who's been commenting. Let's see. Well, we got Andrew Horn. He's on Facebook saying awesome stuff, Brandon Santos. Brandon, when in doubt, flat out. Absolutely cannot agree with you more. Just short shift when you flat out, though. Gerard saying heavy echo. I hope not, Gerard, because it looks like some of the guys are saying that it's all good on their side. So Gerard, if you are still watching, just let us know that it doesn't seem to have that issue. Then we have, let's see, Brandon saying the stream didn't freeze, so that's obviously from earlier. Adrian saying, have a lacquer race, bravo guys, and then we send an invite and here he is racing. So guys, if you are there, we can see that you are watching. Just drop us a message, say how's it, tell us what you think about the racing so far, and let us know what are your predictions for this next race.
Well, Dylan, why don't we spice things up and let's put, what is your top 3 prediction?
Let's go. So I do believe that Brandon, if he's patient, will get through the field. So I'll go Brandon, Sarge, Adrian.
Nice. I am going to go with Michael, Brandon, and Sarge. That is my top 3.
I hope you have written those down and we'll compare notes later.
Fantastic. My take on it is that Michael showed very consistent speed, and Sarge and Brandon having to work their way through the field, and well, I hope there's enough time for them to catch him. In fact, I don't, because I've bet on Michael winning. So I hope there will not be enough time for Sarge and Brandon to catch Michael by the time they've worked their way through the field.
I like it.
Again, as we know, Michael brilliant with defending his position as well. So once they do get to the back of him, it'll be interesting to see how long it takes for them to get past.
So the one thing that we did have to remind the guys is that they cannot overtake each other until they've crossed the start-finish line, because if you do, you're essentially out of position. So you'll see the guys are definitely behaving now, and here we go. So
that is, we are racing.
Almost.
Right,
now
Michael. Now we are racing. Right, Michael heading down to turn 1. Tyler close behind him, and Colin definitely not wanting to give them a gap. Colin going to the inside. Michael again focusing, I reckon, on his exit, as Sarge getting hustled there slightly by Brandon already. Whoa! Thank you, guys. That's how you make a bet stick. Sarge flying off track. Brandon definitely, I reckon, was a helping hand in that situation. But definitely coming out a lot less injured than Sarge. Sarge and Adrian now right at the back. A hell of a lot of work to do to get up to their top positions now.
Yeah, that was very unfortunate. It looked like Sarge just took a little bit of the curb and unsettled him. And as the car flicked, Brandon looked like he didn't have anywhere to go, and just bounced Sarge off and concertinaed into Adrian.
Yeah, very bad, especially for your top guys. But again, like I said, the beauty of that is you now have your quickest guys sitting at the back of the field needing to work their way up. Now, chaps, they've got to go racing.
Oh, little squeeze there. And Brandon, and was that an overtake off the track going on the inside, or going around on the outside of Colin?
That is. Brandon absolutely in control of this machine. Running a little bit wide there. I don't know if you get penalised for running wide there at all, but a lot of the guys using it. And Brandon up to second already. So, yeah, Michael, you're going to have to drive now, bud.
Yep,
to keep me in the pound seats.
So we saw Donovan, he struggled in the first race, and here he is up into fifth, trying to close down on his Team Ezekiel teammate. Ooh, Sarge in the background there, just not getting that car to rotate.
A little bit too hard. Yeah, I think you're feeling the pressure, just pushing really, really, really hard, and shooting off the track in a few spots now. Right, so the gap, okay, it's a bit fuzzy on my side. What is the gap there between first and second? Doesn't look like much. Brandon coming out of there sideways, beautiful car control. Two different, again, driving styles. Michael very smooth, using all of the track, trying to get drive, and he's got a rampant rabbit coming up behind him, throwing the car sideways, Scandi flicking, and definitely quicker, but like I said, catching is one thing, passing is quite another, and we've seen in the previous race that Michael can make that car very, very wide.
Most definitely. So I'm just going to jump back to Dane, because I see that he's closing up onto Donovan, but he was within a second, but that time, unfortunately, now of falling down. Oh, Brandon!
Oh, that's not going to work.
That was sneaky there by Brandon. Realized that he wasn't going to make it, so he slowed down, let Michael take the place back, and now both drivers losing the traction coming up over the hill.
I think there might be a little bit of that's Brandon outbraking, going past, and that's Brandon for the lead. I reckon he's going to probably run like he did previously. But don't give up on Michael yet. Brandon making a few mistakes in that previous race, and maybe Michael banking on a spin or two from Brandon. Brandon with his driving style, very difficult to do it for 20 minutes, sort of consistently. So Michael very smooth, and I reckon might just play the long game on this and still be in for the victory.
Yeah, Brandon, we saw he did make a few mistakes coming down into turn number 15, and I think that's possibly what Michael's going to be hoping for. Correct. Waiting for that moment and hopefully just being able to capitalize on it. You can see that car is very, very sideways, but I must say that I really can't comment too much, because that was pretty much what I was doing too.
That is correct. Same driving style, but like I said, if I'm not mistaken, Brandon on controller, which makes it just a little bit harder to keep it consistent.
That is correct, because he's constantly, you'll see that the wheels will constantly be flicking left and right, and that's just to try and keep it going in a straight line. So just jumped here to Tyler, because he's within a second of Colin, who's ahead of him, but now that time starting to just open up a little bit as they now exit out of turn number 7 up the hill. Big puddle moment there for Colin. You can see how that car just veered off the track.
Yeah, track definitely getting a hell of a lot wetter as the time goes by. You can see, like I said, by the lap times, they drop off quite significantly after 5 or 6 minutes going around this racetrack, and maybe the weather model of Project Cars not allowing for cars to develop necessarily a drier line like they would perhaps in real life, but definitely adds to the show that the cars are getting slower in lap time, and that's just purely because these guys are just trying to hold on. The precision driving is not really coming to the fore at the moment. It's more of a just hang on and hope for the best.
Yep, so we have Adrian, who's now closed up within just about a second on Tyler. Remember, Adrian, he was all the way down in 8th place. So obviously a few little mistakes, and now Adrian back on track, moving himself up the order.
Yeah, Sarge sitting down there in 8th place at the moment. I wonder if he also is not nursing a little bit of damage at the moment. He should have been making his way through the field quite nicely, but we've seen a few mistakes, and the lap times definitely aren't where we'd expect them to be. So I reckon he might be carrying just a little bit of damage on that vehicle.
Ooh, mistake there by Colin, so that's going to cost him 2 places. Or will he be able to just sneak in the inside? Yo. So Colin is fighting for a dear life here to try and not lose 2 places. But now will Adrian be able to get around the outside? Why, cameraman Tim, did you do that?
Because it's cameraman Tim, and he never disappoints.
Most definitely not. You can just hear how the guys are feathering that throttle through that corner, and I must say it was such an awkward feeling, is that you're braking, you're turning in, and then the car just seems to just float around the corner. But once you know that that's what it's going to do consistently, it is actually one of the more confident corners on the track.
Well, the little bit of driving I've done with this car is it's a stunning car when it comes to, like you say, you know what it's going to do every single time, over and over again. It doesn't surprise you. It sticks to what, your inputs that you put in. It gives you a certain result every single time.
Yeah.
With some other cars, you do get, that sometimes it's so edgy that you don't really know what it's going to do. These cars are very consistent and really nice to drive.
So the one thing that I really liked about it is that you could get it into the slide, and you know that by a certain point of the corner, it was either going to step out or it was going to flick. So you could preempt that and correct it before it's happened, and it then becomes the way you drive the car.
Correct. And look at all this absolutely lovely compliments we are giving to Porsche, and Porsche South Africa should really get in touch and come and join up with SARCO and let us do something together. Like we said, we don't expect a racetrack, but guys, we're promoting your car and putting up a fantastic racing series.
That was both Colin and Tyler off there.
As we are with Adrian now. Adrian in 3rd place, having a little bit of a lonely race at the moment. But our top 3 seem to be quite lonely at the moment, with our battles a little bit further down in the pack. But what battles they are. We've seen some good spins, some good lunges, covering off after spins, really good, as we see Sarge in the background there, hassling Dane, trying to get some of those positions back. And like I said, I would have expected him to be a little bit further up by now, but maybe nursing some damage.
Yeah, Sarge can actually just be a little bit patient, because there's still 3 laps left of this race, and anything can happen, as we see Tyler banging up against the wall, and that's just caught a puddle going up towards turn number 8. So I'm sure that damage is going to wreak havoc on him. He's not going to have that confidence going in a straight line with the rain. Now possibly a little bit of damage, but you see Sarge has now got a great drive coming up out of turn number 10. It's all whether he will be able to get it on the inside into turn number 11, get himself ahead of Dane.
No, he doesn't get to make it stick, but maybe focus on the run out.
Oh, there we go.
That looked like it. Yeah, definitely a much better run now, going down the hill to the second last corner, which is definitely an overtaking spot. But
oh, it's too fast, Sarge, too fast.
So, how he managed to hold on to that, I do not know, but he's managed to hold it, take the position, and happy hunting. Let's go after the next batch.
Yeah, most definitely. So now we have said that Tyler has a little bit of damage, but now he's starting to close up on his Team Ezekiel teammate. That's Donovan ahead of him.
Perhaps the damage has helped the handling in the wet. Oh, gosh. No, it's time to change to someone else. We clearly are cursing him terribly. Oh, this could be a nasty accident, but Sarge, ever the gentleman, slows down, not trying to force the issue, slowing down, and reckons he can do it again a little bit later.
Yeah, but now he's got Dane to contend with. And I think what had happened is that Sarge already committed into that line. And once you're in that line, these cars are so difficult to change direction, specifically in the wet. As there goes Donovan. Did he get himself through? Yeah, so he did slow down just a little bit as he...
another wiggle as he tries to exit that track. Looks as if it has become absolutely sopping wet in certain spots. And the guy's not even having enough traction to get down the straights, without aquaplaning and the car trying to spin.
So here's an interesting little battle. This is the battle for a second and third. And it looks like Adrian's been putting in the hard work. He now has an opportunity to get himself ahead of Michael. Michael closing up that inside line, going through.
Yeah, getting fantastic drive versus everybody else coming out of that corner. But it looks to me like Adrian now has the run down the hill. Which line is he going to choose, though? And are they going to remember to do that little bit of a break before the dip? It looks like they both know. Ooh! Adrian managed to get that slowed down, get it turned in, losing a little bit of space to Michael. And let's see how he's coming down the straight now. It's get tucked in behind him, get the slipstream. But I think he's a little bit too far for a move now into turn one. He lost a bit of ground in that second last corner.
Yeah. So while this battle is still going on, I just want to see what happens when they go into turn number 2 and 3 at the Tamburello chicane. So Adrian is still trying to find a way to get around Michael, but it looks like he's got a better drive coming out of turn number 3. Will he try and sneak up on the inside? Little flick of the rear.
Michael hugs that line and uses the exit so fantastically that he doesn't, like I said before, doesn't give his competitors the opportunity to get the run on him through the corners. He is a little bit slower in, but has a very smooth out. But here we go. Adrian trying the outside, maybe the undercut now, which definitely would work. It has worked for him before and worked for a couple other guys before. And there we go. There seems to be a nasty puddle on the outside there on the exit that catches the guys out for when it comes to the traction. But there we go. Job done. Well done, Adrian.
So it looks like the guys are finding a lot more grip on that wider outside line. We saw that Sarge just about, don't know how he stopped there, but with him being off the racing line and doesn't have the slippery rubber down area, is you generally find the grip out there, which is what they call the karting line.
In some of those corners, it also seems that keeping it tight and keeping it on the inside seems to, on some of them, have less puddles and give you a little bit more traction. As we saw that's how, as Michael, pushing a little bit hard there, goes off and decides to take the scenic route through the chicane and live another day instead of damaging the car in the wall, trying to keep it out, trying to keep to the line or keep it on the racetrack. Sometimes it is just a better option to straighten the car up, go over the grass, and live to fight another day.
Most definitely, because what happens is you hit the brakes, you try and turn, it unsettles the car, it spins you around, whether you just come off the power, aim straight at the grass, and then slowly rejoin back to the track. Because if you do accelerate on that grass, there's just no traction and you will be spinning yourself sideways.
That's it. And those walls get pretty close pretty quickly. Imola's wall's not very far off versus some of the circuits like Paul Ricard, where you could virtually have another race alongside. Imola's sort of curb, a little bit of grass, and the wall. That's sort of it.
It is the old school type Formula 1 setup.
The best.
Yeah.
If you make a mistake, you get punished. It's racing. It's not kindergarten where everybody gets a medal. You need to keep it on the track if you want to win.
No! I just saw Sarge overtaking Donovan.
And I just want to say that for a change, it is not me running the director's controls ruining everybody's race.
I'll take it that's me. Look at that in the background, Donovan. Wow.
Managing to keep it still on track. Brilliant little piece of car control there. But Sarge really just not having a great time at it in this race. And he seems to be taking 2 steps forward and 1 step back. But still looks like he's thoroughly enjoying flicking that car around, and the little bit of the lack of grip really allowing these guys to show some skills and have a little bit of fun. Even though you might be in 7th or 8th place, you can still really just enjoy driving the car.
Look at that.
That is Sarge on the outside. Beautiful move. And will he be able to hold it? We said before that outside line seems to be... Oh! There must be a puddle there. We saw Tyler doing the same thing earlier. And Sarge, definitely a different line to what the other guys have been using.
Yeah, that's... I think that was just pure desperation. Not online there. And man, oh man... What a sterling race there for Brandon. 2 wins in a row there for him.
Both over 20 seconds in the lead. A absolutely fantastic drive. Dylan, I wonder if running that controller and using those front tires as hard as he does maybe helped him temperature-wise, and gave him that little bit of extra speed.
So you actually got a point, but that's because Adrian... He too runs on a controller.
And also very, very, very quick. And I think it might literally just be the scrubbing of those front wheels across the tarmac, giving them a little bit more temperature and in turn a little bit more bite. And it's something to consider. Maybe from now on we should do all our wet races with a controller.
Bye, guys.
So we've just had a little visitor that you heard that hi guys. That was Memo popping in to say hi. Well, hello Memo.
Hi, really, Memo. Hi.
So he is now gone. But let's get so it's actually quite interesting because I was looking at the overall and it looks like Colin is actually the 3rd fastest on the day, getting himself 2 4th places.
That is fantastic. So
let's just get them.
And sneakily, we didn't see him, he didn't feature much, he didn't create any huge headlines, but getting the job done and bagging those points, which is fantastic.
So I do want to get, that's BDS.
Just
Right, guys, so we're waiting to get our top 3 finishers into the chat so that we can find out how they enjoyed that race and their thoughts on the tricky conditions we've had for these 2 races of round 3 of the Porsche Euro Cup SARCO World Championship.
I love the way you just throw in that World Championship. It really, really works for me.
Good evening.
Adrian, how's it? We will.
How's it going? Enjoy that one. 4 races in a row. That was a bit rough.
Yeah, but you did well.
there.
Well,
Thank you.
very nice
I told you I
drive.
was going to practice my coconuts.
Right, guys. So we are getting some feedback from someone. Craig, it looks like it's from you.
Okay, let me exit and cut. Well, you know what? Then I'm going to say goodnight, guys. Thanks very much for It was a great evening. Well done racing, guys. And we will do it again soon.
100%.
Cheers, guys. Thanks very much.
Right, let's start off. Oh, Craig. There we go. So Craig is gone, and you see the problem is gone. That's amazing. Where is Brandon? Brandon, we're waiting for you.
He was super fast.
Yes, he was. That he
Sure.
was.
I saw him in the blue, and then that was it. When he went ahead, that was it. You don't see that blue car again.
Okay, I just wanted to get up the.
It's nice he actually didn't get disconnected this time. He actually finished. Sure.
All right, guys, welcome. A very interesting racing. Let's start off with you, Colin. So even though you didn't get yourself a podium, 2 fourth places basically puts you third overall for the evening. Did you enjoy that race and this car and the conditions?
Yeah, I thought it was quite interesting. A little bit, you got to be a bit light on the pedal, but once you get a few laps in, I think you get used to it eventually. It's just close racing becomes a bit hectic, but rather let someone go, stick to your own pace, it's all good.
Yeah, we did see Sarge having an absolute torrid time and having to do exactly that. Car would go off in front of him and have to brake, slow down, and would just give the driver a little nudge. But yeah, it didn't quite work out for him there. But great racing there for you, Colin. Unfortunately, we didn't give you much coverage because you weren't really in the thick of things at the best of times.
In the thick of my sweat at the end of the day.
Love it. Absolute fantastic result there for you. And then Adrian, you got the call to please come and stand in for a missing team member, JJ Greg, who had pulled out, and you were told to come and drive Alpha Tier.
Yes, which I was sweating.
And then to say, well, you need to come and fight for your second place in the Bravo Tier.
Yeah, I know. I had a lot of concentration there. Yo, my eyeballs are square. That's all I can say.
Just a quick question. You're using a controller, is that correct?
Yes.
So I'm definitely seeing some sort of theme here because we know that Brandon, you're on a controller as well. And we're almost thinking that there might be a little bit of an advantage on the controller.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, no, we're having a battle of the controllers there.
So let's go to you, Brandon. 2 wins for you.
Yeah, no, I was breaking up.
Brandon, can you hear us?
Yes, I can.
So 2 wins for you. And Craig was saying it looks like that you were running alpha winning pace.
I don't know if it was alpha winning. I just know I was trying my hardest every lap. So yeah.
No, 2 really great races. There was one little move that you had going into turn number 9. It was a little bit dodgy. And then saw that you did push, I think it was Michael, a little bit wide, gave the place back.
Yes.
And then tried him again.
Yeah, I wasn't expecting him to go so slow through there, because it's usually just a dab of the brakes and let the car roll through, and he was still on the brakes when I came off the brakes. So yeah.
No. Well,
But I did try to give him the position back. So
unfortunately, it is what it is. But really great to watch that racing. Colin, I got a message here for you from Memo. He says there's a race starting in 2 minutes. Colin, come join ACC. He misses you.
Oh,
But then I do see that Dane says, come back to PC2, Memo. So I suppose it does work both ways, doesn't it?
does definitely.
Well done, guys. Yo, that was good racing.
So guys, really,
yeah, well
really
done,
awesome.
everyone.
And I do believe that next week we will have more drivers back. Unfortunately, we didn't get Brett D or a guy in, but they have said that they will come and join in next week's race. They didn't realize that they were DLCs that were needed. So at least we'll have some more challenges next week.
Oh, yeah.
So guys,
Sweating.
thank you very much. A big thank you to everyone who
Thank you very much.
tuned in, to all the drivers that
well
joined
done.
us.
Thank you.
Well done, guys. Well
driven.
done. Thank you very good. Cheers. Have a good evening, guys.
Thank you, Dylan.
Cool. Cheers, bye.
Cheers.
Thank you.
Bye.
So while the guys are leaving, a big thank you to our sponsors,
Cheers, guys.
Autowash, Fourways, as well as Simstuff Racing. We do believe that we are getting a version of that button box, so we are able to test it out, and we will be able to give you a review, so you know exactly how it works, what it does, as well as some of those magnetic levers that will be added. So look out for those. Guys, we will be back on Thursday. That is Seta Corsa Paul Ricard. That is going to be an absolute cracker race. There's some really, really quick guys there. So guys, without further ado, that is the end for this evening. Thank you everyone for tuning in. We do love those comments. And until then, all we can say is keep racing. And thanks for watching. Yos.